If you've been scrolling through X lately, and it feels like parts of the timeline have suddenly vanished, you're probably not imagining it. Several accounts known for criticizing the Sussexes appear to have been suspended or have disappeared without warning, as though the story was cut off right in the middle. In the material you shared, people mention accounts such as Royally Sage and Nancy T. Sidley being taken down, and suggest that a coordinated wave of mass reporting may be behind it. As always, claims on the internet should never be accepted without scrutiny. It's important to look at sources, examine evidence, and decide based on what can actually be verified. Still, one thing seems clear. Some of these accounts really were suspended. That naturally leads to the bigger question: who gains from it? One of the screenshots you mentioned includes a claim that someone heard Sunshine Sachs supposedly offered $100,000 to buy an X account called Meghan's Mole, along with $60,000 for the owner's YouTube channel. That kind of allegation sounds both outrageous and oddly believable enough to make people pause. If it were true, it would suggest that influence and narrative control have become commodities, something people are willing to buy instead of challenge openly. If it's false, it still reveals something significant. Many people already suspect that public relations teams work behind the scenes to shape online conversation. Either way, it's not the sort of claim anyone should accept at face value. It needs evidence, a reliable origin, and something verifiable beyond repeated rumor. Another screenshot carries an even more secretive tone. In it, an account claims Meghan and her team have been meeting with new publicists and suggests her image is being aggressively cleaned up on X and Facebook, while Instagram is said to be facing less hostility. It further alleges that the agency involved has contacted people within social media companies to help remove what they describe as trolls, bots, and hateful accounts. The supposed source for this information is identified as a Santa Barbara gossip group, which immediately raises doubts about credibility. But whether the claim is true or not, it points to a pattern people recognize. When a damaging narrative begins spreading, celebrity teams often respond by trying to regain control. Supporters may describe that as combating harassment or misinformation, while critics describe the exact same actions as censorship. It becomes a matter of perspective. The same move can be framed either as protection or suppression depending on who is telling the story. In the text you shared, one person argues that after the Jordan controversy, there is panic and an effort to silence free speech. Another mocks the situation, suggesting that complaints about trolls and bots are ironic. That is where online conflict becomes especially messy. Social media battles rarely have neutral referees, and both sides quickly cast themselves as victims. In the absence of strong evidence, what remains is suspicion, interpretation, and one very easy tool available to everyone: the report button. There is also a more serious allegation in your text involving Royally Sage, a photo connected to Epstein's yacht, and claims that Sunshine Sachs is allegedly trying to remove any material that hints at such associations. That is a very serious accusation, and without hard proof it remains speculation circulating online. Still, from a crisis management perspective, it is easy to understand why people think aggressive takedown efforts might happen. Anything even remotely linked to Epstein is incredibly damaging in the public imagination. PR teams would likely want to shut down such narratives quickly, whether the underlying claim is accurate or not, simply because the association alone can trigger intense suspicion. The irony, as your text points out, is that attempts to erase content often do the opposite of what they intend. Trying to scrub something from the internet can make it more visible, not less, because it signals urgency and raises curiosity. The effort itself can become a story. So, what can be taken from all of this? First, mass reporting is a low-cost and highly effective weapon in the short term. If enough reports are filed at once, platforms may take action automatically before any meaningful human review happens. Second, if public relations teams are involved, their actions will almost always be described as protecting users from abuse, while opponents will frame the same behavior as silencing criticism. Third, for anyone watching from the outside, the smartest approach is to stay grounded in what can be confirmed, whether accounts were actually suspended, what explanations were given, whether appeals succeed, and whether there is any real proof of coordinated reporting beyond online suspicion. For creators and account owners, there are practical lessons here too. Save backups of your content, Keep copies of posts and media, spread your presence across multiple platforms, and maintain another way to communicate with your audience. Most importantly, stick to factual criticism rather than personal attacks, because that is often the line platforms use most quickly when labeling something as harassment. In today's online environment, being correct does not always protect you as much as staying within platform rules. And that final line from your text lands with a bit of dark humor. People end up doing public relations work for free every day without even realizing whose side they're helping. If more large accounts disappear, the story will only grow bigger. If suspended accounts are quietly restored, the main lesson will still remain the same. Online influence doesn't belong only to the person posting. It also belongs to the crowd with the power to report.